Disrespect is never an accident, it's a test of your strength, a silent game of power. And in this video, I will show you exactly how to respond in a way that turns insult into fear and mockery into respect. Stay with me until the very end, because every second of this will sharpen your mind and harden your presence. And if you're serious about mastering yourself and commanding respect wherever you go, make sure you subscribe right now, because what you're about to learn is only the beginning. When someone dares to disrespect you, understand this. It is never random, it is never harmless, and it is never without intention. Even the smallest slight, the seemingly casual remark, or the dismissive gesture carries weight. Disrespect is always a test. It is a calculated probe into your defenses, a silent question that asks, how much will you tolerate? How much can I get away with? Human beings by nature are predators of status. They may not admit it, but every word, every action is a negotiation of dominance. When someone disrespects you, they are not just expressing emotion. They are gauging your strength. They are pressing against your boundaries to see if you bend or if you break. The truth is that disrespect often hides behind masks. Sometimes it comes cloaked in humor, as a joke at your expense. Sometimes it arrives in silence, a refusal to acknowledge your presence, your value, or your effort. Sometimes it strikes in public, in front of others, where the impact is magnified not just by the act itself, but by the witnesses who watch your response. These moments are not accidents. They are deliberate or instinctive acts of positioning, subtle games of hierarchy, where someone is attempting to lower you so they may rise. If you treat them as harmless, if you dismiss them as meaningless, you have already surrendered ground. What makes disrespect so dangerous is not only the insult itself, but the chain reaction it sets into motion. One act of unchecked disrespect breeds another, then another, until soon you find yourself in a position where you are no longer seen as formidable, but as tolerable, pliable, and ignorable. Respect is not built solely on what you achieve. It is preserved by what you refuse to allow. Every man and woman lives within a silent perimeter, a boundary of dignity. When someone trespasses against it, their action is a signal to everyone watching. This boundary can be crossed. That is why disrespect is never isolated. It echoes, it spreads. It shapes perception far beyond the moment itself. You must therefore train your mind to interpret disrespect not as an emotional wound, but as a political act. To be disrespected is to be challenged. It is a declaration that someone believes they can test your limits without consequence. And here lies the danger. Many fall into the trap of either ignoring it completely, believing themselves above it, or reacting with fury, letting rage dictate their response. Both errors lead to the same outcome: loss of control. Ignoring it entirely signals weakness. Exploding in anger signals insecurity. The wise understand that disrespect is not a matter of feelings. It is a matter of power. Think of it as the opening move in a game of strategy. The moment someone disrespects you, they have made their play. Now the eyes are on you. Will you counter with precision? Will you set the terms of engagement? Or will you reveal to everyone watching that you cannot command the field you stand on? Every moment of disrespect is a lesson, a warning, a chance to reinforce your place in the order of things. That is why you must never deceive yourself into believing disrespect is an accident. It is the language of power spoken in gestures, tones, and silences. It is an announcement that you are being weighed, measured, and tested. And what you do in that moment will decide whether others view you as a figure to respect, or a figure they can dismiss without consequence. The moment disrespect is placed before you, you are confronted with a test that is not about the insult itself, but about the weight of your reaction. Power is not in the words spoken against you, nor in the gesture that attempted to reduce you. It is in the silence between your recognition of it and the decision you make in response. That choice reveals who you truly are, more than any claim you make about yourself. When people look at you, they are not simply observing how you speak or how you walk. They are watching how you absorb conflict, how you manage insult, how you handle those who attempt to challenge you. Your response is a reflection of your internal structure, the foundation of your strength, and once it is revealed, it cannot be taken back. An overreaction exposes fragility. When someone disrespects you and you immediately lash out, shouting, cursing, or drowning in visible rage, you may believe you are asserting strength, but all you are doing is showing the world that another person has mastery over your emotions. Anger, in its raw form, is an admission that the other has successfully invaded your state of mind. It makes you predictable, and predictability is weakness. Those who rely on fury to command respect end up enslaved by it, for the one who can trigger your anger can always control you. Yet, to underreact, to dismiss every insult with silence or forced indifference, is equally dangerous. The world does not reward endless tolerance. It punishes it. Every time you allow disrespect to pass unacknowledged, you communicate something deeper than patience. You communicate that your boundaries are soft, that you can be trespassed without consequence. This emboldens the aggressor and teaches the audience that your presence is negotiable. The weak often convince themselves that by ignoring the attack, they are showing superiority. But superiority is not proven by how much humiliation one can endure. It is proven by the subtle mastery of when, where, and how one responds. That is why balance is the art you must master. To respond not in anger nor in weakness, but in controlled calculation. The true measure of your power is revealed in restraint coupled with precision. The audience, whether silent or visible, must see that you do not rush to react, but that you do not forget either. You must radiate the sense that disrespect does not overwhelm you emotionally, but that it does not vanish into the air without consequence. Your demeanor should suggest that you are choosing deliberately, that you are in command of both your emotions and your strategies, that you will act not when provoked, but when it suits your advantage. Every act of disrespect must therefore be viewed as an opportunity to prove composure, to reinforce authority, to show that you will not collapse under provocation, but neither will you permit erosion of your standing. The power lies not in the immediate retaliation, but in the mastery of timing, the subtle orchestration of response that leaves no doubt in the minds of others that you are neither a servant to rage nor a servant to passivity. You are something higher, a master of yourself, and thus a master of the field you walk upon. The world remembers not the insult, but the aftermath. No one recalls the words spoken in mockery as much as they recall the manner in which you answered them. Some destroyed their reputation by reacting in desperation, while others built unshakable fear and respect by replying in silence first, and then in calculated action later. This is the essence of power, the ability to decide, to shape, to control the narrative of your own conflicts. When you are tested with disrespect, the insult is not the true weapon. The real weapon is your choice of response, for it is in that choice that the measure of your authority is revealed. When someone disrespects you, understand that the moment in which they strike is rarely random. It is chosen. People insult, mock, or diminish others when the stage is set to their advantage, when there are eyes upon you, when the environment favors them, when the timing leaves you unprepared. The aggressor selects the battleground with care, hoping to catch you off balance, hoping that you react in the heat of their choosing, not in the precision of your own. This is the oldest trick of power. Force your enemy to respond in a place where the outcome benefits you, and you win before the fight even begins. That is why the first principle in dealing with disrespect is to never allow yourself to be cornered into reacting on the stage they have created. You must control the setting of the confrontation, or you will always be a character in another's play. The instinct to react instantly is the very trap they wish for you to fall into. They want your anger to flare in front of the crowd. They want you to be seen stumbling, raising your voice, losing composure. In that moment, they win not because their insult was sharp, but because they forced you to perform under their script. Your first weapon, therefore, is patience. Not the patience of weakness, but the patience of strategy. The ability to delay your response until the conditions suit you, until you are no longer playing their game, but yours. Controlling the stage means deciding where and how the consequences unfold. If the insult was given in public, your response need not be immediate. To strike in front of all may sometimes be necessary, but often it is more powerful to let silence cloak you in that moment, giving the illusion of indifference, only for the aggressor to later face the weight of your retribution in a place where they cannot hide behind the safety of the crowd. This teaches a harsher lesson. You may strike me when surrounded by witnesses, but I will strike you when the shadows are mine, when no applause shields you, when no audience distracts me from precision. Consider also that timing is as much a weapon as the response itself. A delayed answer unsettles. It places the aggressor in uncertainty, leaving them to wonder whether you have forgotten or whether you are planning something greater. Days of silence can weigh heavier than hours of fury, because the unknown gnaws at the mind. In this way, you seize control of not only the physical stage, but the psychological stage as well. They may have fired the first shot, but you determine when and where the war is truly fought. To master confrontation, you must learn to see beyond the immediate insult. You must ask yourself, is this moment the right place to respond? Or is it the stage they have set for me to stumble? If the answer is the latter, you must retreat not out of fear, but out of intelligence. Retreat is not surrender when it is the prelude to a calculated strike. What matters is not that you answer quickly, but that you answer on your own terms. Power lies in control. Control of self, control of time, control of environment. When you let another dictate the stage of your reaction, you are already defeated. But when you dictate the ground upon which battles are fought, every insult becomes nothing more than bait you have refused to swallow. The wise never wrestle in the mud where the opponent drags them. They pull the opponent to higher ground where their own footing is strongest. In this way, every act of disrespect becomes not a wound, but an invitation to showcase that you alone decide the arena, and only you decide the terms under which you will respond when the moment comes to respond to disrespect. Understand that retaliation is not about satisfying your emotions. It is not about venting anger or proving that you too can strike. Rage is the weapon of the weak, for it blinds judgment, reveals insecurity, and often punishes the wrong target. Precision, however, is the weapon of the powerful. The difference between the two is vast. Rage consumes without thought, but precision calculates, selects, and executes in a manner that not only addresses the insult, but reshapes the perception of everyone who observes. The goal of punishment is not merely to hurt. It is to instruct, to leave an impression so deep that it becomes a lesson to both the offender and the audience that crossing you comes with consequences that are sharp, deliberate, and unforgettable. The great error many make is to confuse immediacy with strength. They believe that striking back in the heat of the moment shows dominance, but dominance is not proven in haste. It is proven in control. A reckless response often diminishes you more than the insult itself, for it shows that the other has mastery over your emotions. What appears as strength in that moment becomes weakness upon reflection, and others watching will not remember the insult. They will remember your loss of composure. To punish with precision is to break free of that trap. It is to bide your time, to plan your response with clarity, to ensure that when you do act, it is not only effective but symbolic. Symbolism is key. A punishment that is precise does not always need to be loud, but it must always be memorable. If someone disrespects you publicly, your retaliation need not match the volume of their attack, but it must carry an edge that others will not forget. A single calculated word, a subtle move that undermines their standing, or a quiet act that strips them of influence achieves far more than shouting ever could. Silence itself, when combined with a later decisive act, often carries more terror than immediate fury. The offender learns not only that you will not tolerate disrespect, but also that you choose the terms of justice, not them. True punishment is a form of theater. It is not about the blow itself, but about the message it communicates. The audience is always larger than you think. It includes not just the one who disrespected you, but also those who watch silently, calculating how far they too may go with you. A punishment delivered with rage teaches nothing, because people dismiss it as an outburst. A punishment delivered with precision teaches everything, because it shows that you are capable of control, strategy, and consequence. It creates an aura that extends beyond the moment, an aura that says, "Crossing me will not bring a storm today, but it will bring something far worse, something deliberate, something you cannot escape." Remember also that punishment does not always need to be direct. Sometimes the greatest precision lies in indirect action, in striking not at the person's words, but at what they value. Removing opportunities, undermining their influence, or subtly isolating them can be punishments more devastating than any outburst of anger. The offender may not even connect the punishment immediately to their act of disrespect, but the connection does not matter. What matters is that you never forget, and that in time they feel the weight of what they unleashed. Precision allows you to choose the form of punishment best suited to the offense, sometimes visible, sometimes invisible, but always intentional. To punish with precision is to transform disrespect into a tool. It is to say without words that while others may be reckless in how they treat you, you will never be reckless in how you respond. Your power lies not in striking often, but in striking well. A single decisive act, executed at the right time and in the right manner, carries more authority than 100 explosions of rage. It preserves your dignity, reinforces your authority, and reminds all who watch that your response is not born of emotion, but of will, and will is the foundation upon which true power stands. Disrespect, though bitter when received, is not merely an attack. It is raw material. It is a weapon placed in your hands by the one who sought to diminish you, and whether that weapon cuts you or empowers you depends entirely on how you choose to wield it. Those who see disrespect only as an insult suffer under its weight, but those who see it as leverage understand its deeper utility. Every slight, every mockery, every dismissal has within it the potential to elevate you, if you treat it not as a wound to lick, but as an opportunity to seize. The insult was designed to weaken you, but if you play it correctly, it becomes the very thing that strengthens your reputation and sharpens your aura of power. Consider how people observe not only what is said to you, but how you respond. The one who disrespected you has given you a stage, whether they realize it or not. They have created a moment where all eyes shift to you, waiting to see your next move. If you collapse, you validate their attempt to reduce you. If you explode, you confirm their ability to manipulate your emotions. But if you hold the insult, weigh it, and craft a response that elevates you above the pettiness of the act while still making it clear that you are not to be trifled with. You transform the moment into a demonstration of command. In this way, disrespect is not an obstacle, but an opportunity to show mastery. Leverage also comes from the ability to turn the disrespect back upon the offender. Words meant to humiliate you can be twisted, reframed, and used as tools to expose their weakness or lack of control. A subtle remark that flips their insult into a reflection of their own insecurity humiliates them far more effectively than loud retaliation ever could. This requires wit, restraint, and timing, but when executed well, it shifts the power entirely. What began as an attempt to cut you down becomes the very rope upon which they hang themselves. The insult they delivered becomes the stage for their downfall, and all you did was guide it with precision. Disrespect can also be used as fuel for growth. Nothing awakens dormant strength like the sting of being underestimated or mocked. The words of detractors, if internalized not as poison but as fire, can drive you to refine your skills, strengthen your discipline, and sharpen your strategy. In silence, you build yourself higher than the ones who spat on your name. And when you rise, their earlier disrespect amplifies the magnitude of your ascent. People will not only see your achievement, they will recall the scorn that preceded it, and they will marvel at how you turned mockery into motivation. Thus, the insult becomes part of your legend, a reminder that even contempt can be converted into power. Leverage also means making an example. When someone disrespects you and you respond in a way that is both precise and memorable, you send a message far beyond the immediate offender. You create a precedent. Others who observe will learn that any attempt to diminish you carries a cost, and they will think twice before attempting the same. Disrespect, then, becomes the raw material through which you mold a reputation not of fragility, but of resilience and inevitability. The more people see you turn hostility into advantage, the more they will understand that striking at you is dangerous not because you will lash out blindly, but because you will transform their attack into your elevation. To transform disrespect into leverage is to embody the highest form of control. It is to use what was meant to degrade you as a foundation to reinforce your strength. It is to recognize that every slight contains energy, and energy can either burn you or be harnessed to build your empire. The world does not belong to those who avoid insult, nor to those who collapse under it, but to those who can take insult, turn it over in their hands, and mold it into a weapon of their own design. In this way, disrespect becomes not the end of your authority, but the beginning of its amplification. For you have shown that even the venom of others can be distilled into the fuel of power. Disrespect is not simply an insult. It is a battlefield. Every word spoken against you, every gesture meant to reduce you, every silence meant to erase you is a test of power. The weak see it as a wound and either ignore it in cowardice or erupt in rage without control. But the strong understand that disrespect is never accidental, that the choice of response defines the weight of their authority, that the true victory comes not in reacting when provoked, but in controlling the stage of confrontation. Precision becomes the weapon, not fury. Calculation becomes the shield, not pride. And in the end, even what was meant to diminish you can be turned into leverage that elevates your presence and warns others never to cross your boundaries. Those who master themselves master conflict. Those who dictate when and how they respond command not only their enemies, but also the audience that watches in silence. Disrespect, then, is not the end of your dignity, but the moment where dignity is tested, proven, and solidified. It is not the insult itself that matters, but the way you wield it, reshape it, and transform it into a declaration of power. For the one who cannot be broken by mockery, cannot be shaken by challenge, and cannot be controlled through provocation, is the one who stands untouchable, an immovable force in a world that constantly seeks to test the strength of your resolve.